The champagne's hitting my head. Welcome back to our channel. We have come together and we decided to come up with top 5 things that we did right when we got home and started planning and how we did it. I'll try and keep this short and sweet. First and foremost, I want to say a huge thank you to one of my BFFs. She used to be my boss and now she's my peer, and quite frankly, I'm so lucky to have met her. But she was the first one to give me my first engagement gift, and it's been something I've had my eye on for a very long time. She knows that I love planning and all of that good stuff. So here's my Erin Condren wedding planning binder, and you can see here it says Pamela Family. Anyway, so what this is it's fantastic. It helps along the way. It helps you document monthly. It has to-dos on here, goals. And then the biggest section is just full of notes, stickers. So my very favorite part of this is actually kind of like a timetable of what you need to do in what section of months. So starting 14 months to 9 months beforehand, it's literally a checklist of what to do as everything kind of comes together. And so this helped Chris and I really formulate a plan for what are our first few steps. So please, I mean, this is pretty expensive, but I'm sure that they have some great details online of what to follow as you're taking your first steps to planning your wedding. The first thing that we did when we got home and started planning was write up a hypothetical guest list so we can see how many we actually had to plan around. Looking for venues or kind of coming up with a plan. A lot of venues were different when I was looking at it. I thought it would be a package deal for the venue and then package deal for food and this and that. And I really learned a lot of things along the way. So I found that some venues were actually placing the charge per person that would be showing up. So instead of like the venue is say $1,000, and then on top of that, this is how much it would be for this vendor, and then this is how much it would be for food. They would just say, like, hypothetically speaking, like $20 per head. So if you have so many people, this is how much it would be. So what I wanted is kind of like the biggest guest list we potentially have, and then went through it and actually pulled out what our smaller version would be. So we would have kind of like a range to plan around our budget. Step 2 was finding a venue. So Chris is from Seattle, I am from Idaho. I knew immediately that I wanted to get married in Idaho. Chris, when I asked him this, he was gung-ho, loves Idaho, very supportive in me making that decision, so I'm very thankful for that. So I went actually having a good list of venues that we wanted to check out. We were really very specific in the venues that we wanted. We wanted it to be centralized along the certain area in Coeur d'Alene. So there were a ton of hotels, easy access, good cabs, any of that. So people can actually have more like a touristy time. We're asking a lot of people to come from Seattle, Boise area, and a lot of family don't necessarily live in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Spokane, for example. And so we wanted them to have a really great time while they were there and a better experience than just in and out for a wedding. So we planned our venues, and then from there we toured the area, figured out what would fit best for us. And Chris and I kind of came up with a theme, and it is essentially kind of like a combination of our two lives, like rustic barnyard slash very elegant, crisp, clean, modern. And so we had to combine those two together, and thankfully there are a lot of resources out there on Pinterest, for example, that really put those together. While looking for a venue in Idaho, we had 2 big variations. We either had very clean, crisp, very sterile looking, and then we had barnyard. Literally, we saw a venue that was on the Coeur d'Alene Fairgrounds. To each their own. I loved it. It was immediately nixed by my family. But we found a good venue afterwards that allowed us to mix and intertwine all of what I wanted in the decorative vision of the wedding, but it also provided kind of that clean and organized modern look for Chris as well. And so you can really see the combination of Chris and Brianna at our venue. Number 3. This is where we came together and actually finalized our guest list. We went through and pinpointed who all we wanted to have come, who we wanted to invite, and then who we expected to show up. I know it sounds really weird, but I actually knew a lot of family members of mine wouldn't be showing up, but I would still be inviting them. So that helped me plan how many invitations we need versus how many people would be showing up. Through finalizing our guest list, we actually came up with our bridal party. If it were up to him, we would have no one watching us getting married and they would all be next to him in his bridal party. So what that meant for me was figuring out how many people I wanted, and quite frankly, untraditionally, I just wanted to go ahead and pick who I wanted in my party and not match it up with him, just because there are some ways that you can actually match people up where they're walking down the aisle where it doesn't look really awkward, and I think that it really would have fit us. We actually ended up matching. We have 8 on each side. So like I said, step 3, finalized our guest list and also came up with our bridal party. Step 4, so this is where we're different than any other couple. Step 4, we came up with the budget. I know it's probably the first step that most people should come up with, but we had a lot of friends and family that wanted to participate in helping out with the budget, but they plucked a lot of things off of our list, and so from there we needed to make a budget afterwards. So for example, his parents helped out with the venue. My dad is getting the DJ, and my mom is helping me out with my dress and photos. And so from there, once I heard the collaboration of who would be participating in the financial, who would be participating in, as a gift, just helping us out with parts of this wedding, we were then able to figure out what our personal budget was and go from there. Number 5 is then picking our vendors. After understanding our budget and after understanding what everyone else is helping us with, we had to find our vendors. Fun fact, in Seattle, we have everything available to us. We have a very big city. We have small cities that are contributing to our big city, and well, finding vendors or like party planning anything has been a breeze when looking at Seattle. Our issue though is finding any of that in Idaho, and it's been really interesting finding out what some of the vendors are for some of these and how much they cost. I hope this was helpful. I hope I don't sound like I've had too much champagne. Thank you again for watching, and next video I definitely hope it's a vlog or something else about the wedding, and I'm really excited to be planning. And right now we're pretty close to, we're not close though.